Hello, in this video I will show you the Meinberg Network Management System. On the landing page you see your inventory summary, all your Meinberg devices that you have in the network with important information such as uptime or your LED status of each Meinberg device, but also a summary of all your alarms which are currently active in the system. For example, we have 22 critical alarms here. When I click on that button, you see all the details. There is an M1000 as an example, which cannot reach an NTP server. Or as another example, there is one major alarm, which is a LAN time M500 reporting that it has an unknown clock synchronization state. Another view we have is our map view. As you can see, there are 6 Meinberg devices close to Bad Pyrmont. When I zoom in, I get more details. And here, as an example, there is the LAN time M200. Simply click on that one to see the LED states of this device. What if you want to add new equipment to the network? Simply go to the equipment page. Let's imagine you have just added a new device to the network and click on the Discover button here. The system will now scan the network for new devices that have not been added to this system yet, and we have identified and found a new LAN time M400. Click on the Provision button. What happens now? The system will take that device, provision it into what we call the surveyor on the left-hand side, and starts monitoring that device immediately. Everything happens fully automated under the hood. As you can see here, we also have added the LAN time M400 device to the list of monitored devices. The device state is currently set to unknown. It takes about 20 to 30 seconds until all parameters have been gathered from that device. Now, about 20 seconds later, the system has gathered all data from the newly added M400 and starts monitoring each and every parameter. What you can do now, go to your equipment page, and you can also check for the correct software firmware. You see there is this LAN time M400. Click on the Check Compliancy button, and you see the firmware does not match the expected firmware. The detected software version is not a match with the expected software version. What I can do, simply click on the Update button to apply a firmware update. I will stop that here for the demo and abort the script. As a next step, let's have a look into the LAN time M400 itself. Go to the device. You see there is a visual overview, again a summary page for that LAN time M400, showing you important information such as the LED status or the synchronization state, and you also see a visual representation of the device. You can also configure the system from here. Let's go to NTP configuration as an example, and let's change the NTP offset from 0 to 2 milliseconds. We apply that parameter, we read it back to make sure we have correctly set this parameter to 2 milliseconds. As a next step in this onboarding process, you can go back to your equipment pane, to configuration, and take a backup of this M400. Simply click on the backup button. We will store a backup of the running backup with my current settings. Click on Next, Finish, and the backup has been stored. What I can do now, I can go back to the M400, change my NTP offset back to 0 milliseconds, apply, go back to backups, to my M400, take another backup. Same thing again, we take the running backup, click on Next, Finish, and I'm done. I have now taken 2 backups. When I go to Show Backups, I see those are the 2 backups I just took. I can click on the Compare button, put that one to the left, put that one to the right, and compare. and the system will immediately show me the difference between the two backups, where you see I have changed my NTP offset. I can go to the update pane, go to my backup I have taken 2 minutes ago and apply it back to my M400 by clicking on the update button. Finish, and I'm done, back to my default configuration before I have applied the change back to 0 milliseconds. Let's have a look at some other systems. Going back to the landing page, to my summary, let's open an M1000. As you will see, we have again a summary page and a visual overview. And what's important to know, this visual overview will be drawn fully automatically. When you plug in a new card, the system will detect that card and show that card. When you remove a card, the system will also remove that card from that visual overview. Another example, for example, an M4000, open that one. Similar look and feel, but with a different visual overview because it's a different chassis. Let's go back to the Landheim M1000. On the data pages, again, I can go to more details like the chassis here, where we have detected all the cards in that chassis. Also the system pane gives you basic information about the CPU load or the physical memory usage. I can go to more details to see the performance of the physical memory over time, or the CPU utilization over time, where you see a graph and I can track my performance for the last day, the last week, the last month. And this is something I can do for every parameter in the system. Let's probably have a look at some of those cards. Here is an GPS card. Simply open that one, and again you see a summary page. For example, the satellites in view, the good satellites, and on the left hand side again details on the parameters. Here is an example on the GPS offset. Again, we monitor the parameter here. You see it's green, that means it's good, it did not breach a certain threshold, and I can check the performance over time and drill down to more details. Another example is my receiver, maybe my satellites in view and also the good satellites. Ideally, those values are always the same. Here I see the performance of my satellites in view. I can now simply add another trend graph, as we say. The good satellites show that trend, and if everything has been set up correctly and if the system can receive all the satellites, those trend graphs should more or less match. Then I have a good system in place. Let's have a look at another card on the M1000, which is the HPS card. This is our PTP card. Similar to the GPS card, I just click on that card to go to the summary page. And here the summary page looks a bit different. For example, I can see the master offset of my PTP. Can go to details again. As you can see, before it was set to a PTP master, then we changed it to a PTP slave, and from then onwards I can see the offset. What you also can see here on this graph, we have added an alarm template to this metric. So when it's below -200, there will be raised a small alarm. When it's above -200, everything is okay. How can I do that? Simply go to the alarm templates and edit the thresholds the way you want it. For example, my master offset here, I could say it's critical when it's more than 500 nanoseconds. I apply, that's it. That's how easy I can change alarm templates. Or add new parameters that you want to monitor. For example, my mean path delay. Search for that one. Here is my mean path delay. activated, and from now onwards with like a default set, -100 and +100 is critical. I click on apply. That will be monitored now, and in case we breach that threshold on the mean path delay, data miner will raise an alarm. You can not only manage and monitor Meinberg devices, the Meinberg NMS also supports third-party devices. Let's give an example. In this case, this is a Windows operating system where you see again a visual overview with the most important KPIs, but then again you can go to the data pages, check the performance, your processor load, or go to the task manager to see every single parameter of your task manager, or the disk information. As another example, the disk utilization you see is getting monitored. It's currently green. Everything is okay. I go to the performance graph, and what you also can see are a few more things there. For example, those little gray dots. This is the data miner AI engine, which is also embedded in the Meinberg Network Management System, indicating change points. Actually, we analyze the behavior of the system over time. We try to find change points and make an estimate how likely it is that this change point could be a problem, an issue. In this case, it's gray, it's not red. The system has identified that change point as something non-critical. But imagine you have a large peak here. This would turn red, and an alarm would show up fully automatically without, and this is very important, any configuration. The system will proactively analyze for anomalies, and also, this is something you can see here, we start forecasting the value over time, that metric, like a midterm prediction. What you can see here, there is a small increase, but nothing critical. If there would be a tendency to reach the 100% disk utilization, you would get a proactive alarm, an alarm to the operator before things actually go wrong. And that's really it for a quick overview on the Meinberg Network Management System based on the Data Miner platform. If you're interested to learn more, if you're interested to learn how you can build your own visual overviews, your own dashboards, have a look into the other upcoming video. Thanks very much for listening.